Hey, it's Jamie here today. I'm going to be showing you a few ways on how you can use Venusaur specifically. So also Venusaur back in the day, it wasn't really that great. Like, yeah, it was an okay wall because of its typing. It did have a few very common weaknesses in the meta, but ever since the hidden abilities were added, it managed to get itself Chlorophyll, which also is its more preferred ability. There are a couple of Pokemon which also you can see right up here that kind of help improve its chlorophyll to get that sunny day up, but also we're going to be talking about that. So firstly, you can run a bulky Venusaur and you can run a speedy Venusaur to make use of the chlorophyll. Even if you are running a tanky version of Venusaur, you still only really run the chlorophyll just so you can get the outspeeds on Pokemon that you wouldn't normally outspeed. And if you are running a tanky Venusaur, you're most likely going to be running Synthesis, which also Synthesis will heal you 50% under most conditions. I think it goes down to 33% in Hail and Sandstorm, and obviously when you're in Sun you will gain that 75%, so even running a tanky version, just run Chlorophyll, because also you might as well try and get that Sun up most likely, and you'll be outspeeding a little Pokemon even though you're tanky, and you're also going to get that good healing option as well. But obviously in Sun, as you can see, I've got a few of the more used that some of the more stats moves that you'd probably use. For the tanky version, you probably want to run Synthesis, Leech Seed, and Substitute, but like I said, I don't think the typing is really there for Venusaur. Plus, if you go look at its base stats, I don't think its defenses are that impressive, they're just mediocre really. So I prefer the sweepy, or the fast sweepy Venusaur set more than this set specifically, which also brings us to our last status move, as you can see, which is Growth. So usually this move isn't really that great alone, because it only will raise your physical attack and special attack by 1 stage each. However, if you are using it in Sun, you will gain 2 stat increases in both physical attack and special attack. So that means you're going to be doubling your physical attack and special attack in 1 turn. So that's really good for Growth to be able to do that. Obviously, I should get Chlorophyll off as well, so that's pretty much all the status moves. If you want to look at like the bulky version, I'd probably go with something like this, maybe play it in bold, or maybe just go for like straight full out a specially defensive rather than physical defensive, because also if you're running a tanky form, you're most likely going to be wanting to run a Torkoal then. So if you want to run Torkoal, then also you can give Torkoal the physical wall side, and then you can use Venusaur as the special sides tank on your team. So I feel like that's like the only really way that I would probably ever try to run a tanky Venusaur, is making it a special wall and having Torkoal as my Sunsetter with that Heat Rock for 8 turns as my physical wall, and then try and use that to balance it out. But again, I wouldn't really recommend running a tanky version. I'd rather run the speedy sweeping, or yes, I guess sweeping Venusaur. So let's go into some moves then. So also, we've shown Growth off. Growth is an insane. Other moves that you want to kind of want to run, like other than Growth in a Sun team or on a sweeper Venusaur, is mainly like Giga Drain, so you can get the health back. Because if you aren't running that Synthesis, because you want to have extra like free attacking moves if you're gonna be running the speedier version. So if you get Growth off, Giga Drain is a pretty good reliable move to like get some hit points off. So that's really great to like do a ton of damage from the stab plus a Growth increase as well. If you don't want to run Giga Drain, your best move then in Sun is probably going to be Solar Beam. Obviously, if it's not in Sun, Solar Beam isn't really that great, but in Sun, Solar Beam just is very nice to be able to hit very hard. If you don't really want to run in a Sun team, you can run Leaf Storm, although that does give you that special attack drop every time that you use it, and 90% accuracy, so I definitely prefer the Solar Beam over that in the Sun. Other than that, we have Sludge Bomb for stab. Also, if we're running a grass move, we've got to have that poison type move, just to make sure that we're, like, if a fire type Pokemon is on the field, we've got to have something else to be able to hit them, which also Sludge Bomb is there to do. We do have a lot of options like Earthquake, which I'll go into later, but I don't really recommend running too many physical moves. But also, since Growth is increasing our physical attack, Earthquake won't exactly be that bad of an option. So all on that for Sludge Bomb, so that's our 2 stab moves. That's pretty much our best moves for stab for that. And for coverage, I feel like Hidden Power Fight is a very big move to have as well. like I said, you could instead of Earthquake, you could run Hidden Power Ground to be able to hit those those fire types. Although I feel like Hidden Power Fire is a lot better, because like I said, if this thing you're meant to be running it in stone with the Chlorophyll, with the Solar Beam, with the Growth. If you're in Hidden Power Fire, it's not going to do too much on its own, but if it's in Sun, it is going to get that boost from it being a Fire type move as well. And yes, Hidden Power Fire does actually get increased with in Sun, and I believe Hidden Power Water will get increased within a rain dance, or whatever it is, just when it's raining. So that's pretty much what I would suggest running, is mainly like this set is what I would usually run, is Growth, Solar Beam, Hidden Power Fire, Sludge Bomb, and even if it, like, Sun is gone, you could, and like for the items wise personally, I'd personally run a Life Orb just so I can actually do like extra damage, just like making sure that it's ripping through people's teams, people aren't going to be able to do anything with it. You can also run a Z move, so a Gracium Z. Gracium Z is also, if the sun has gone out, you can still make use of that one turn with Solar Beam to make sure it hits, so it's only a one turn move rather than a charging move. Definitely would recommend that if you are worried about sun going down, but I feel like it's not really necessary. I feel like you probably want to be running a Life Orb, mainly for like that extra damage, because I mean, this Venusaur is not exactly that great, plus if it is in Sun, it is very, very, very vulnerable to all the Fire type Pokemon or moves that is paired up against, because obviously it's a Grass type, it's not really meant to be taking those Fire type moves, and especially if it's in Sun, there's no way it's really going to take any of those Fire type moves, so wouldn't really recommend trying to run a tanky version of Venusaur really, especially if it's meant to be in Sun, because it's just gonna, because it is weak to fire, and also in Sun, Fire type Pokemon and Fire type moves dominate the Sun, so wouldn't really recommend that. But this is a set I would usually run like something like this. I guess you could give it a Focus Sash if you really wanted to, but yeah, but there's that. And also, just for the weird people, I guess, if you want to run a physical set, there aren't really many physical moves that Venusaur gets. Like, for example, it doesn't have any stab physical poison type moves, so I wouldn't really recommend running physical type, but these are the best moves I could find. Bullet Seed, instead of Bullet Seed, if you don't have the multi-hitting moves, you could just go for I believe it is, when I find it really quickly, Seed Bomb doesn't really have any additional damage, but it's 80 base power, I guess that's okay. Or Power Whip, but it also has that chance to miss. You got Petal Blizzard. Wouldn't really recommend lower physical set, especially for like Petal Blizzard. The only physical moves that I would recommend really is Earthquake, in case you don't want, if you don't want to run Hidden Power Fire, or Sludge Bomb. I feel like Earthquake is definitely a good play to like get around the Steel types, the Fire types, the rock types. You have Grass Fall, so you don't really need to worry about that. But definitely feel like Earthquake is a pretty good move to run other than Hidden Power Fire, in case you want to throw a different curveball, because if you are running Growth, you're going to get walled by chances, like completely special walls, you're just going to get tanked. So if you throw them a curveball, put like an Earthquake, that'd be great. You also have Knockoff. I don't feel like Knockoff's going to be that great to really use. Like, again, I feel like it's only going to be really that great against a chance to like maybe just knock it off and then just start spamming Growth and Giga Drains, really. Wouldn't really recommend it, but just in case you were looking at like a physical attacking options, I mean, these are really only the options that you have, really. But yeah, along that, I feel like the stats for a tanky Pokemon, like I said, for Venusaur, I'd probably just go with the full out special defense set with a Calm Nature, just like increases special defense a lot, like probably give it like Leech Seed substitutes. Symphysis is like also a big must, like maybe there's Leech Seed, Symphysis, maybe Giga Drain for like extra amount of XP given, and also since you don't want to get walled by Sopsipper, maybe I run Sludge Bomb, something like that set. But you have to mess around with, like I said, I wouldn't really recommend a tanky version, unless you are in the Tall Call. So as you can see, pretty much it. But for the speedy version, all you really want to do is just go max out in both the speed and special attack. You could really mess around with the speeds, like make sure you're outspeeding certain Pokemon, but I just want to go full out to make sure I'm outspeeding as many Pokemon as I can, because your speed is doubled. So at level, what is this? I believe this is 100 most likely. Yeah, level 100. So this will be like you have over 500 speed, like 518 speed. You're gonna be outspeeding quite a lot of Pokemon, and also give that modest nature since we don't really need more speed since our speed is already doubled in the Sun. So might as well give it that extra output, especially with the Life Orb plus the growth. It's going to be hitting things extremely hard. So that's pretty much it for the Venusaur. Other than that, like I said, we have two Pokemon here. We have Ninetales and Torkoal. These are the only Pokemon that can be run in rarely used, along with Venusaur also in the rarely used tier as well. We also got Ninetales. Ninetales, I feel like will probably be the better set of Pokemon to run if you already have a Stealth Rock setter. The reason why I say this because also Ninetales is fairly quick. It can take down like all the poison types that Venusaur might not be able to take down too well, because obviously Sludge Bomb isn't going to really hit too hard, its Grass type wasn't going to hit too hard, so it has to rely on Hidden Power Fire. That sounds like the hardest hitting move, so Ninetales I feel like is a pretty good counterbalance to that, but you have to remember as well it is a special attacker, so exactly. I feel like there aren't really enough like droughts other than like fire types. The only Pokemon that actually has drought abilities are fire types, so it does kind of suck that you're kind of limited to what you can use, but Ninetales is pretty good. Also that nasty plot setup. Fire Blast for huge damage. Solar Beam again, just for the fact that it can take down water types fairly easily rather than just having to go straight into Venusaur, because like I said, some sets that you might not even have any recovery options on it. Psyshock, just like take down like some psychic type Pokemon that could fighting type Pokemon, just things that you don't really want Venusaur to deal with. There's also other moves that could run like Dark Pulse, like stuff like that. There's quite a lot you could run like Calm Mind Set. If you want to make it like a bulky set, then you can go like maybe something like this for a Calm Mind Set, and then make sure like you just put it into speed and hit points. Next we can take a few more hits and just start Calm Mind to like boost up your special defense and special attack a little bit. So that means you might get a little bit more. You have Ninetales lost on the field a little bit more, because it is around the drought. I don't really like to keep in this Pokemon a lot, especially if I have the Venusaur, but if you can stay on the field and clean up Pokemon, why not, right? Also, it has the Energy Ball. You could run a physical set if you want to do the Flare Blitz, but I wouldn't really recommend it. You got Foul Play, Heat Wave. There are quite a lot of things like Pain Split, Overheat. Overheat will hit really hard, but wouldn't really recommend that. But like Will-O-Wisp as like the only other move I would really recommend on this. But I feel like this is like the ideal set that you want to really run for Ninetales. Other than that, though, we have Torkoal. Also, there's only really one set I can really run on. Well, there's also a few sets I can run Torkoal, but I feel like the EVs, I feel like it's meant to be just a complete physical wall. You could mess around with it and give it like an Assault Vest. So for example, if you already have a Stealth Rocker, you could give this thing different moves, but I'll talk about it later. But the set that I would usually run with Torkoal, which I would actually usually run Torkoal with a Venusaur. I like to run Stealth Rocks on this. If I'm sending out first turn, most likely, in a lot of situations, I want to make sure I get my Stealth Rocks up when possible. So if I'm sending this thing out on the field quite a lot, it gives me a lot more options to actually get the Stealth Rocks down than Rapid Spin, but you have to be careful, because obviously, if you're using it for too much, then obviously if it gets taken down, you're going to be at a very big disadvantage. But in this, you can use it to get a ton of damage off, because it does have the same attack stats. You could run a mix set. So what I've been running recently is a Overheat just for the raw damage, and then an Earthquake set just for like to like mix up, because also after Overheat special attack drops a lot, so I can just spam Earthquake on Pokemon on people that aren't predicting it. But I feel like this set is a little bit better with the Lava Plume for the burn chance. Also, if you burn Pokemon, Venusaur can set up a little bit more freely. Earth Power just like make sure I can take down other fire types that are on the field. I want to make use of the my own drought, so just thought about that. Then you got Rapid Spin. Other than that, you could run a Assault Vest set, but also that would get rid of your Heat Rock. If you are running drought on a Pokemon like Torkoal and Ninetales, would recommend the Heat Rock. It takes 5 turns from drought and turns it into 8 to make sure I get like 3 more turns. Venusaur can do so much work in those 3 more turns, believe me. But yeah, I don't really recommend a Assault Vest set, especially for the fact that we're trying to make use of all the drought and we need as many turns as possible. So I feel like those 3 turns that you're giving up for an Assault Vest set isn't really going to help too much, but you could run the Assault Vest set if you really wanted to as well. But that's pretty much it where I'm going to wrap it up, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, and like always, I'll see you guys next time.